European leaders are focused on maintaining strong ties with the US despite concerns about Donald Trump's unpredictable leadership. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy said the country is committed to its special relationship with the US, no matter who is president.
77 million people. Well, I welcome the election of Donald Trump. We look forward to working with Donald Trump at this tough geopolitical moment.
Meanwhile, Latvian President Edgars Rinkevics said US-Latvia relations have been strong in the past, but there are concerns about climate policies, defense spending, and keeping European countries united.
Es jau esmu lasījis ziņās, un es domāju, to mēs redzēsim šīs dienas gaitā, ka ASV izstāsies no Parīzes klimata nolīguma.
While France wants to set clear limits, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot emphasized the need to protect European public debate and sovereignty from outside influences, including US-based social media platforms such as Elon Musk's X.
Donald Trump returns to the US presidency on Monday with an inauguration ceremony in Washington, D.C. Ahead of the ceremony, thousands of Trump supporters, despite freezing rain and snow, stood in line to try to get into the building where Trump was to speak at a victory rally on Sunday. Many expressed optimism for the country's future as Trump readies to assume the US presidency again.
He never caused a single war. He ended wars, so I think that's a plus for anything, you know?
It's returning to strength and returning to getting stuff done, returning to actions, returning to stability. And that's something we haven't seen in 4 years, and that's something that we need. With everything going on in the Middle East, in Eastern Europe, at the southern border, we need strength and stability, and that's what we're getting.
Millions of Americans are expected to watch as the 78-year-old Trump takes the oath of office, becoming the first president to serve non-consecutive terms since the 1890s.
Immigrants in Chicago are bracing for mass deportation arrests as Donald Trump's administration plans its first major immigration crackdown. Preparations include granting power of attorney, arranging childcare, and installing security cameras amid rising fear.
Tengo 27 años aproximadamente aquí en Chicago. Ellos son nacidos aquí en Estados Unidos, aquí en Chicago. Tengo un poco de miedo porque pienso en mis hijos, que por decir ellos que están en escuela, si un día yo soy aprendida por ICE, ¿cómo les van a avisar a ellos? ¿Quién los va a recoger de la escuela? Y pienso que sería un trauma para mis hijos.
Federal agents initially planned to target over 300 individuals with violent criminal histories, but others without legal status, including spouses or roommates, could also be detained. The operation is expected to last a week, that is if the weather permits, as Chicago faces freezing temperatures. Trump aides confirmed mass deportations are a priority, with sanctuary cities like Chicago in focus. The city recently reaffirmed its refusal to cooperate with federal immigration agents. Critics warn the crackdown could disrupt families and escalate tensions in immigrant communities.
The first day of the World Economic Forum annual gathering here is somehow overshadowed by the participant who is not here on the ground in Davos, Donald Trump and his inauguration. The atmosphere is rather cautious, or the calm before the storm, as everybody here is trying to figure out what to expect from Donald Trump as he returns to the White House, and what will happen with relations between the US and Europe and also the rest of the world. Sasha Vakulina, Euronews, Davos.
Tel Aviv residents react with mixed emotions as the ceasefire brought the first signs of hope in the Israel-Hamas war. Freed hostages were reunited with their families, but nearly 100 hostages remain captive.
הרגשות מעורבים, כי כל עם ישראל וגם אנוכי עברנו תקופה מאוד קשה ועדיין ליבנו דואב לגבי כל הפצועים והחללים שאיבדו את נפשם למען החזרת החטופים, למען קיום המדינה אולי.
The deal includes the release of 33 hostages over 6 weeks, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, and increased aid for Gaza. Future phases aim to secure further releases and a permanent ceasefire, though uncertainty looms. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu secured US assurances to resume fighting if necessary, despite efforts to advance peace. The next hostage release is set for Saturday, with talks on a challenging second phase expected in 2 weeks.
Israel has released 90 Palestinians from prison on the second day of the Gaza ceasefire. A bus carrying dozens of detainees exited the gates of Israel's Offa prison in the early hours of Monday morning. According to a list provided by the Palestinian Authority's Commission for Prisoners' Affairs, all of those released are women or minors. Israel detained them for what it said were offences related to national security, from throwing stones to more serious accusations like attempted murder. Their release comes more than 7 hours after 3 Israeli hostages were released by Hamas and returned to Israel. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas took effect after a short delay on Sunday morning. Phase 1 will see Hamas release 33 hostages over 6 weeks in return for hundreds of Palestinians being held in Israeli prisons. Phase 2 of the deal covers steps towards a permanent end to the fighting. It would see Hamas release the remaining hostages and the Israeli military fully withdraw from Gaza. The third and final phase covers Gaza's reconstruction, with Hamas expected to hand over the bodies of hostages in return for a plan for rebuilding the Strip.
Some Palestinians in Gaza expressed relief on Monday after sleeping for the first time in over a year without bombing or fear. Many were seen returning from Khan Yunis to Rafah, only to find massive destruction.
اليوم وقف إطلاق النار انبسطنا كتير كان يوم من غير قصف من غير زنانات قدام مبسوطين احنا والطنيات عشان تعبنا كتير من الحرب والدمار اللي حوالينا تعبنا من القصف كتير أهل رفح اتبهدلوا شردوا كتير مشينا كتير خفنا على حبايبنا كتير بس الحمد لله كان إحساسنا كتير كويس إن إحنا طلعنا بالسلامة وإن شاء الله دايما نطلع بالسلامة وإن شاء الله بنعود على أراضينا إن شاء الله.
The return of the families comes amid looming uncertainty about whether the ceasefire deal will bring more than a temporary halt to the fighting, who will govern the enclave, and how it will be rebuilt. The United Nations has said that reconstruction could take more than 350 years if Gaza remains under an Israeli blockade.
This railway station in Damascus used to be the pride of Syria, connecting Europe to the Arabian Peninsula during the Ottoman Empire. Now, some hope it could be a symbol of the country's revival after the fall of Assad's regime last December. Generations of Mazen Malah's family, including himself, used to work at the Qadam station before it was destroyed in the war.
كان سفر يومي عنا يعني نشوف قطار ونشوف يعني القاطرة كانت قطعة منا يوميا نحن فيها 12-13 ساعة لما ارجع على البيت انا من تعبي ما اشوف اولادي قد ما اشوف القاطرة.
Syria's railway never returned to its former prosperity under Assad, and Malah stayed away as the military maintained control of much of Qadam. He and others hope the railway can be cleared of its rubble and its dark past and become a central part of Syria's economic revival after the war. Malah hopes it will bring job opportunities and that his son can keep the family tradition alive by working at the station.
تونسية في المطبخ التونسي، حاجة ركزة من كاز تونس توكيلية ولا الهريسة، فهمتني؟ معروفة الهريسة التونسية في العالم أجمع، خاصة بعد تسجيلها في اليونسكو. معناتها كان الإقبال زاد، وكانت الدورة هذه كانت أنجح دورة في الدورات الكل معناتها. هريسة فن هي، كان أنت كنت مغروم بالحاجة بتاعك نجم تبدع فيها. يعني مانيش نخدم فيها عشان فلوس ولا حاجة، لا، نخدم فيها بغرام، نخدم فيها بحب. هاك علاش أني ديما نتفنن فيها، نخدم فيها بغرام وبحب، عشق، خاطر بيني وبينها قصة عشق، قصة محبة، قصة مودة. راه الهريسة باش تخدم مش أي كاليتي فلفل نخدمها زادة، لازم الفلفل اللي نخدم فيه يكون هذايا بيولوجي، يكون فلفل من غير برودوي شيمي.